to have your race bike, you have to have your mini bike, you have to have your enduro, and then you have to have your bar hopper.
All right, Brandon Hope. I am super excited to have you on my podcast. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. I got in touch with you through Rick. And, Rick says, you got to talk to Brandon. Brandon's got a pretty cool story. And we were connected early on in the day. You told me, hey, man, I might not be able to make the podcast because I hurt my leg and I'm doing
Yeah.
rehab. Love to hear about how you hurt that leg, because to me it's interesting how you find back. Now, before you begin, there really are two types of people in this world, okay?
Yeah.
There's type one that when they hurt themselves, they listen to everything the doctor says. Doctor says, you know what, you're not going to walk for another 6 months, take it easy. And there's guys who will be like, hey man, I can't get out of my chair, I can't get my soda, or I can't get a beer because the doctor says I shouldn't be walking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the other tip people, well, the doctor goes, it's going to take you 6 months to walk, and you're like, hell no, I'm going to do it in 3 and I'll show you.
Well, yeah, I'm one of those people who I don't really try to make it a point, but there's just shit you got to do, and so sometimes you gotta move, and you don't got anybody there to help you out, and so I'm 12 weeks into a broken leg tibia, and I wish I had a better story, like I was riding motorcycles, but I was mowing my damn lawn, and I had a push lawnmower Craftsman, got a lot of power,
Yeah, sure.
and I had a rock get caught in the blade and swing back at me. And you know when you always hear them when they zing by you, and you're like, oh shit, that was close. I'm just gonna keep mowing the lawn. That was close. Good thing I got my sunglasses on. You know what I mean? And you feel
Yep.
them hit your leg, like the little guys. They kind of burn a little bit. Maybe they hit your cheek, and you're like, oh shit. Good thing I can still see. Well, I had a rock hit me the size of a Jello cup. It hit me in my tibia, and it sounded like a home run from like Babe Ruth himself, and it knocked my leg back. I just looked down to make sure it was still there, pretty much, and I saw a lot of white, so that means bone.
Mm.
So I knew my bone was hanging outside where it shouldn't be, and then I kind of hobbled over to the car, and each hobble I did, I didn't really notice it, but the firefighter said there was a spray of 6 feet of blood. So I not only broke my tibia from my lawn, I sliced my tibial artery at the same time. But that was like the first week of June. Um, I'm what is it now? September 21st.
Yep.
So I'm what 3 months in, 4 months in.
Yeah.
So and I'm walking. I just had my first day of rehabilitation today. So, but yeah, I'm doing all right now. It was quite the ordeal though. Actually, that same day I was picking up Adam Robart's ZX6R,
Yeah.
and he was dropping it off at my shop hours later, and I wasn't even there to pick it up because I was getting ready to go into surgery for my
Wow.
for the open fracture in my leg. It was hilarious. But yeah, picked up that bike, didn't even see it for 6 weeks, sat in my shop because I wasn't able to go to the shop. And yeah, that was a 2019 ZX6R I just picked up from Adam Robarts, and it held two track records at the time. But yeah, I think that's the fastest it'll ever go again. But that's what my partner said, anyways. My partner Mark,
Yeah.
and I kind of laughed at him, and I was like, "Oh, you mean bastard," but he's probably right. So
It's crazy because I have never heard of anybody getting an injury to that degree mowing the lawn. Like, I mean, like every other red-blooded dude, I mowed the lawn. I've never had anything kick back to that degree. Where do you live and what lawn do you have
no,
where
I don't
that
know,
much
man.
lawn?
My wife mowed it 2 weeks in a row before me, and I actually was bugging her about getting somebody to mow it because I got too much shit to do. And she's like, "You cannot tell my dad that somebody else is going to mow the lawn." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the man thing, right? Okay."
Yeah.
So it took a week later, we got somebody else to mow the lawn, but it did cost me a broken tibia. So,
Yeah.
but we live in Sandpoint, Idaho. It's not really crazy where I'm at. I still live downtown, so to speak, and so I don't know if our rocks are any different from anybody else's rocks, but this goddamn rock got me pretty good. So,
Now you got me anal about like kind of doing a
oh,
doing
dude,
a walkthrough before.
I talk to so many people now, and they're like, I thought about you. They text me, I thought about you last time I mowed my lawn. I thought about you, and I was like, every time I was mowing, I was thinking about you. I was like, oh my god, Brandon. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's pretty funny though. But yeah, it's good. I'm all good now. I was able to work pretty hard at the business and stay focused because I was stuck to the couch and all I could do
Yeah.
was be ultimate keyboard warrior and just work on HHR and slang parts. So
That's crazy.
that's all I did for 3 months.
Cause now the safety Nazi in me is thinking I gotta wear motorcycle boots, shin guards, what
I
else?
know, right?
Because
What
on the
else?
back of every lawnmower, there's like that little plastic curtain, right? That rubber curtain, no?
Oh, this was a home run. This was the perfect pitch, and
Wow.
my leg was the bat, and yeah, it was game over. It was luckily I lived 2 minutes away from the hospital, so I was able to get there pretty quickly. The paramedics did an awesome job, and yeah, the first guy on the scene just so happened to be my brother-in-law,
Mm.
who's a firefighter,
Oh
and
wow.
so he was the first person there, and that was cool. And but yeah, they it was eventful. I didn't get any morphine for a good 2 hours, so that sucked.
Yeah.
Long story there, but yeah, you know the routine, getting in an ambulance and that whole thing.
Oh yeah, for sure, for
Great.
sure. Yeah, that is super nuts. Now, I guess the silver lining is that you've been working your butt off, getting
Yeah.
HHR like tip top shape.
Yep. Yep. Busted
Um,
my ass, and that's the silver lining in it. And me and my business partners even talked about that, and that's the cool thing about it is that I was stuck at home just hammering through order fulfillment, taking care of existing orders, new orders, sales, vendors, manufacturers, whatever it may be, and I didn't have any distractions from being in the shop. In the shop, I get distracted all the time. Brandon, what about this? What about this? What about this? UPS guy, I got to pay this card payment. Which hat am I wearing? Which hat my business am I wearing? But
right.
when I'm at home, I can just grind through all those emails that I get and
Mm.
grind through all those like inquiries, you know, item inquiries, stuff like that. So it was really good. At that same time that I was doing that, we actually brought on our first, I guess you could call him employee or full-time sales rep, and that was Andrew Lee.
Oh wow.
Or is Andrew Lee? And so Andrew Lee's working for us, and that for the very first week, like literally, I broke my leg. Andrew came down, and I had surgery, and Andrew came down like maybe 5 days later, and for training because it was we hired him on. You're a first employee. We're gonna have you do sales. You're gonna kick ass. Everybody's gonna be like, Andrew, I need an exhaust, and Andrew's gonna be like, cool, you need the titanium, blah blah blah, works to Graves exhaust that I use, and they're
Right.
like, oh hell, Andrew, I will get that exhaust.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so you know what I mean. But it's a really simple thing. It's a psychology thing. But at the same respect, it's like you're getting the shit because the person who's winning is telling you the shit to get. And
Yeah.
so it just makes sense. And he's a really likable guy, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it takes a little bit to get through his sarcasm or not. I'm just kidding, but he honestly grew up so fast, and I don't think we could have picked a better person to do the job. And we got some good big plans with him. So it's been really good relationship. It's a remote relationship, and that's been cool. It's really cool to have him everywhere, boots on the ground, and have him be a good extension of HHR. Um, but yeah, we've been really busy the past, actually this year. It's been absolutely, it's been a blessing. It's been really, really busy and really incredible. Good problems, abundance of problems, you know.
Yeah.
So
Everybody I've talked to, since coronavirus or COVID has happened, is their business, the
yeah,
motorcycling industry, has actually picked up a lot.
insane. Every
Yeah.
every
Right.
yeah, trailers, bikes, jet skis, boats, what the fuck you ever call it. Anything out there, power sports performance is sold out and back ordered.
Yeah.
And so that's and even Amazon. I mean, you doesn't I have like 6 things on Amazon I ordered 2 weeks ago. I'm like, where the hell is my Amazon shit? But everybody's spending money. I don't know what everybody else is talking about, but I feel like a resurgence of two wheels, and I
Mm.
feel good about it. And I feel like, now's an opportunity to, I really want to, my pipe dream is to help out the kids and
Mm,
really get into that whole scene and start with the roots. For example, my partner Mark went to go buy a bike for his kid. He couldn't even find a mini bike for his kid to buy. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Of all the dealerships he went, he got stuck buying an SSR or one of the off-brand ones,
right.
and that's the story everywhere. And
Yeah.
so, but anyway, I really feel like it would be cool to help the kids out and do all that and use this momentum that the industry is currently riding, this wave that the industry's currently, along with the Ovale Cup and all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
think it'd be cool to get into, like, my pipe dream is to do a nonprofit mini moto track. I didn't
Well,
mention that, but yeah, I really think it'd be really cool because there's not one mini moto track in the whole state of Idaho. Not one
really.
go-kart, mini moto, supermoto, whatever you want to call it, like a regional worthy club mini series track out here,
Yeah.
So I think that'd be really cool to do up here, but that's that's totally separate from HHR and carbon and hustle hard racing and all that. So
Yeah, for me, I had an interview with the Ovale Canada,
yeah.
sales rep.
Oh, cool.
And he's like, there's a problem in Toronto in Canada. Is that a
Hmm.
lot of tracks now, even the go-kart tracks, they're not letting bikes on the track.
Accessibility.
Right.
That's the key, accessibility. And that's my goal, is to make it accessible. Not only just build the mini moto track, but have a fleet of like 10 bikes, get 10 suits, get 10 helmets, get 10 gloves, the whole range of sizes. I'm actually going to have to bend over, not just a little bit, but quite a bit. But if I bend over enough, I know my community, I can start a fire, I can spark something. And up here where I live in northern Idaho, up in Sandpoint, it's everybody here already has a dirt bike. Everybody, this is where timber sled was created, the snow bikes
Right.
was in Sandpoint, Idaho, and which
Right.
Polaris bought. You know, um,
Yep.
you drive through here in the winter and the fall, wherever time of year, and there's side by sides, four wheelers, dirt bikes, everything. And so it's a really active community, and I think that we could do well with it. And I think a lot of other communities could do well with it too. And I want to create something to where it we can replicate it, and so, like, the same mini moto track can be replicated and applied into Toronto, for example, or
Yeah.
it to where there's the skeleton and you just fill it in. It's
Yeah.
the framework,
Yeah.
and so a framework that's proven and that works. And so that's what I'm still doing my research, still doing all that, but rideturnpike.com, that's the website I have up for right now, and helping other places like Toronto. I just want to be able to ride, and a lot of people are like, well, you only can do that so many months out of the year. And that
Right.
doesn't really make any sense because, well, you can only golf so many months out of the year. You know what I mean? And actually, probably the same amount of months that you can ride.
Yeah. I
Because if
agree.
there's snow on ground, you can't ride, you can't golf. So the same thing. But there's golf courses everywhere,
Yeah, no, that's true.
right? And
Yeah.
so, and now they got, if you think of it like that, well, if we just make it accessible and build it, they will literally fucking come. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, over here, one of the odd pushbacks that I get is they think it's inherently dangerous to be on a road bike versus dirt bike. And I see,
sure.
parents bringing their kids on little BMX and then going downhill on their little dirt bikes, right? Or like, or BMX bikes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, it's literally the same thing. If anything, I would think it's a bit safer. You got
Yeah.
better shocks, better suspension, better gear.
Well, the whole safer aspect, you can have your kids hitting helmets,
Yep.
playing football,
Yep.
making each other slowly retarded over the years, or, or you can do a father and son, or send them down to the skate park, which I did. I skated my whole life. I didn't do competitive sports with other people. It was
Yeah.
always it was craft among myself.
Yeah.
Or if there's this other, like, opportunity to write, hey, we love riding dirt bikes and going camping and do all this stuff, and what if you could go do that bike thing with your kid, at the mini moto track and do that? I think that's where it's at, and I think that, like, getting hurt and all that is associated. It's a misconception. It's a stigma that I
Yeah.
think the tool market has to get over. But we both know at the mini moto track, getting hurt there is probably versus like my wife's probably gonna get pissed at me because she's hearing this right now. But like a gym, she was a gymnast when she was younger, right? She was putting her body up against it, like doing
Yeah.
all those crazy
Yeah.
gymnastics and all those crazy things, ankles, everything's getting, you know what I mean? And she had to pull out early, and she was on a roll just because she was putting her body up against it. Our sport, we can do until we're goddamn 70 something years old.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've seen the other day, like there was somebody who just signed up for it was an enduro ride over in Mexico and whatever, one of those Baja ones, and he's 74 years old, right?
Wow.
And I was like, what the shit is going on? Like, I feel like I'm getting old, and that guy adds vigor, you know, to everything. So our sport is a lifelong sport. You do have to respect it, but that's what it creates mature um, individuals at a young age because they respect the throttle. You
Yeah.
know, they listen. They have to know what they're doing, why they're doing it, and when they're doing it. You know what I mean? They're not just hucking it. You know, it's not all balls. You know, you
Yeah.
got to have a little bit of common sense. You know, and hopefully those balls drop for some of them, because some of them they start young and their balls never drop, and they're just good riders. They're just good racers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But then there's
Yeah.
some of them. It's
Yeah.
like a fighter, you know, on the street. It's like some people are just meant to fight,
Yeah.
and some people can be trained to fight. But does that mean you're a fighter? No. And so, who's that one fighter?
Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz. He's a
Yeah.
fighter.
Yeah. Yeah. Nick and Nate, the
Nick and
brothers.
Nate, through
Yeah.
and through.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
who's a trained like square? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
I don't want to say GSP because I respect him a lot, but
I was about to
GSP
say
is a
that.
guy who, he's born to fight. Let's
Yeah,
be fair.
born to
But at
fight,
this
athletic ability, very square. But Nate's like, we want to throw down, let's throw down. It's about respect, you know. It's about street, you know, hard knocks, you know.
Yeah.
And GSP is the other way, and so that's kind of what I'm talking about. I think that in a young racer, we're getting off subject, but it's it's
Okay.
it's a little bit of balls, common sense, and then a little bit of crazy. But these kids that start young, though, they do grow up fast in a good way. They grow up fast in the respect that they can speak and communicate with older adults a lot
Mm.
easier.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of younger racers from my business from a standpoint of I can sponsor you, and when
Right.
they approach me, they're they're focused, they're on it, they're on point, they're
Yeah.
good with their mannerisms,
Yeah.
their etiquettes, everything. And I
Yeah.
love I love seeing that in individuals because I see potential.
Yeah.
And that's what it does for young kids. It helps brings out, I think racing helps bring out their potential because it forces them to be on point, you know, versus football, which is just like, just fucking run as fast as you can, 40 meters or whatever, the 40-yard dash,
Yeah.
whatever it is. You know,
Yeah.
you're 2.4, you're 2.2. Here it's like racing's totally different. And then with today's respects, it's with sponsorships and all that, it's getting, you know, you got to be a businessman at the same time. So it's teaching these little racers to be like, all right, well, with my program, I think you can fit. Let me talk with my team, my partners, and you know, they're like coordinating, and they're like 14 years old, and I'm talking to them on the phone. It's
Yeah.
the coolest thing ever. It's
Yeah.
it's you know, and so, um, but yeah, it's been cool. HHR has been a really good vessel to be able to you know, experience and live and work within this industry. You know,
Yeah.
I've been blessed.
I gotta say that, you're right. Racing does bring maturity to kids a lot
Mm,
faster, right? I mean, how many 14-year-olds can you have a conversation and they'd be like, you know what? We know we're not gonna take them in this section, in these corners. I know I'm not faster,
mhm.
for whatever the reason. So I need to figure out where I can be faster, where I am faster, and when to take them. And that's a level of maturity that most 14-year-old kids that don't race, that don't do anything but play video games all day, may not be able to
Totally,
formulate, effectively, right? So
totally.
one thing I find very interesting about HHR is that you do have a lot of sponsorships to a lot of riders.
Hmm.
Was that always the intention when you're growing or starting the business?
It's a great question. No, it wasn't. And in fact, this year we've cut back.
Hmm.
We focus on quality over quantity. I want people who are chasing ships. I want people who are committed. And our very first couple of years, as you grow as a business, you bring people on, and then people step up to the plate or they don't, and they go on. So we're like about 5 years in, and some of our existing sponsored racers are still with us, and they're like family to us, and they always will be because they've been through us through thick and thin. But from here on out, we do sponsor, I guess you could say, a lot.
Mm,
But we know, I think the people that we sponsor, we have legitimate relationships with. It's not just a phone call and that's it. I think these are racers that we care about, and it just so happens to be a good um, representation of what Moto America is. These
right.
racers, right? If a lot of these racers, I don't just I don't even, I know personally, and so and on and off the track, and so and if I don't, Mark does, my partner,
Sure.
and
Of
so
course.
we don't just bring on anybody without knowing who they're going to be, as far as a representative of HHR. But I think that it's been a really cool process to be able to give back to racers, in so much that, like, with not just discounts, because that's pretty common,
Yeah.
and we want to stand out and be different, but sometimes as a middleman, that's all you really can give is just a discount. And right now, we're not selling mattresses, we're selling low margin products here. We're not making 700% margin profits, but
Right.
where we can help is in the cool ways, which is like Carbon in USA has started a contingency, the credit contingency, and so we pay out across all clubs. And I've been slowly hinting at for 2021 pro racers as well, but and expanding. Basically, I wanted to pay out cash for anybody who won on Carbonin. Well, we
Right.
got to tone down the idea, right? We got to make it feasible. So then we
Sure.
turned it into, all right, credit. All right. And then, all right, let's pick the 10 major clubs, right? The first year. And
Sure.
then, so we picked the 10 major clubs, the 10, and then the major premier races, the major 400 race, the premier 400 race of the club, the premier 600 race of the club, premier 1,000 race of the club. We pay out for those races. And I think it's been a good thing. And instead of just picking a couple to choose who to sponsor, it actually gives it up to the whole nation. So that's been a really cool thing. We're looking to expand that for next year. And, but yeah, I really do feel like we try to focus on and a lot of our racers too. We don't do free product sponsorship,
Mm,
and I mean it may get to a point where they have something's been earned, right?
sure.
But to earn their sponsorship, in no way, shape, or form has there ever, or even right now, do we ever do product sponsorship. And I think that says something to the product that we do. We end up sponsoring it, like Carbonin
Right.
or Tech or TK Discs. I think
Yeah.
that speaks to the product, because even though they can't, yeah, use that on their buy, even though it's not free, they're still going to pay for it because they know they need that to win.
Right.
They know they need the best to win. And
Yeah.
so, and I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be honest about it, and we're a small business and we're growing. And as we grow, we can help you. There's been certain situations where I've been able to help more than other, but I think it's
Yeah.
also because those racers have stepped up to the plate, you know. And I
Mm,
like that we're growing as a business and we're able to help more, and each year is evolving. And so I'm able to help these racers, like I said, reach their potential. Um, I love helping people reach the potential in general. I think it's fun. I think
yeah.
everybody has something they're good at, and I think if you just ask them questions and you listen to them, that you can find out what it is. And I think all my racers are really unique individuals, and they're all badasses. So it's been really fun trying to push them and seeing what else they can do, and then reward them at the end of the
Right.
day. Be like, bro, you kicking ass. I want to push too. Here you go. Here's a custom seat with your logo on it and your name and everything else, whatever else, you know what I mean? Or here's
Yeah.
some, rotors, both, things which I've done in the past. So, but yeah, we've been blessed to be able to work with the best in the industry. We don't just sponsor anybody, we're sponsoring the top, the top pick. So,
Yeah. Let me ask you this question. I mean, carbon bodywork, the carbon fiber, I'm sure it's top notch. But everybody's got a price, everybody's got a budget. How do you combat, the knockoffs? How do you combat the Amazon guy who
Sure.
sells subpar,
Sure.
bodywork that looks very similar? Like, how do you combat against that?
Sure. Well, they're both fruits in a respect, but they're different. They're different fruits. They're apples and oranges, right? And so, yeah, they're both fruit and they both are bodywork, but they're totally different. And so we don't really try. We don't consider other brands that market toward the budget
Mm,
rider as competition, and we don't see it that way. We our demographic are on people who have bodywork as a priority and almost not as a want but as a need,
mm,
because they've experienced bodywork before, their team has, in a fashion to where they know that they need bodywork that is going to get them through the season, is going to fit right out of the box. They need bodywork that is completely done out of the box, whether it be paint and graphics. And so it comes down to the demographic of the buyer. You have two different kinds of buyers out there. You have your budget racers, budget buyers, and then you
yeah,
have your buyers who are going well enough to where they're like the guy who's it's a hobby, right? And it's
sure.
like you're writing a piece of Lego, and we're all adults and we want the most badass Lego. Well, they actually have a little bit more money there to be able to do that. Well, believe it or not, those guys are there. We're there to cater to them, and that's what HHR is. And HHR is a boutique rather than a mall. And so Carbonin being one of those boutique brands, right? And so sometimes you know what you need,
Yeah.
and you've been down the road, you've built an R6 before. Bro, I got shit to do. I got podcasts to go. I got to do the people. I was like, just build me the R6 I want. All I care is
Yeah.
it's this color. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There are people
Yeah.
out like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm a connoisseur, and I'm for
Yeah.
those I kind of try to market myself to those people. But those budget guys, eventually they get fast enough to where they need that kind of support, or they need that
Mm,
kind of advice, or they need
right.
that kind of better product.
Yeah. They need that edge.
Is whatever
Yep.
that edge,
Yep.
because when you need an edge when you're going for what? Podium. You
Right.
need an edge when you want to be on the box.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's always the saying, yeah, you can ride or whatever and blah blah blah, I can ride a stock bike. Cool, yeah, I totally agree with that. I try to swallow that same medicine too, but we all want to fucking trick out our bike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so yeah, there's two different kinds of customers out there, but we try to we take care of all of ours, especially ones that are taking more attention to what their needs are, and
Right.
ones that want to improve their racecraft. Because I'm down to talk shop all day with all my customers. I'm like, well, let's talk about your wants, let's talk about your needs, and where you coming from, where you want to go. You
Right.
know, it's not just like, let me take your credit card. Burp, burp, burp. All right, good luck installing the Rapid Bike USA system. You're screwed. You know what I mean? Like, like, like I got I'm here to help people out because I ride, or used to ride.
Yeah.
So supposed to
Yeah.
ride that thing sooner or later. But
Yeah. Well, once you get your leg healed up, I'm sure you'll get back into the racing and the swing
I'll
of
give
things.
it a go. I'll give it
Yeah.
a go. I gotta get comfortable, So
Yeah. Now, TK rotors and sprockets, how
yeah.
did you get hooked up with them? Because I'm sure there's 1,001 distributors who are chasing after, like an exclusive product. How
You
does that?
know, they sort of approached us when Mark went over. Mark goes over to Italy and Europe every once a year. My
Oh,
partner,
right.
and he's got the accent. He's got the red hair. He's born in Northern Ireland. He raced over there. He's got the whole. He's born from the UK, right?
Right.
So he fits right in, and he gets us. And he's good, and he's good at what he does, and he's a facilitator in his own right. And he landed us this contact, and this contact asked us to come visit their factory. And it's TK Disque Freno, and they're involved in Moto2 and MotoGP. And yeah, during that trip, we established that relationship. They're a small, fun, family-run operation. They travel with MotoGP teams. Sam Lowe's is on them, or was on them in Moto2, and then uh, the Parkins Go team was on them. There's a number of other teams on their ventilated rotors. The rotors are pretty crazy. I wish I probably could go grab one for you. real quick and show you, but
Yeah, let's do it. If you
okay.
want, we can pause the podcast real
Oh,
quick.
don't even pause it. It's right here. All right. This is one straight from Italy. TK Disco Freno. And then these are
Wow.
the Evo rotors. These are ventilated. And the cool thing about them is that they're bobbinless. Ooh, 2 seconds. All right. So I don't know if you can see those, but
Yes.
so these are bobbinless TK rotors. You notice the amount of arms on them. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yep.
You got 10 arms. The T drive has 7. These
Right.
are these are full floating rotors, full. They're bobbinless, so these are not even the same carrier bobbinless carrier technology. So the carriers are totally different from the T drives. You can see right in here in the clips, the C clips they got there. One more thing, I don't know if you can see it because I can't see the.
No, it's in. Yeah, it's
See
good.
the holes?
Yep.
See how they're going different directions?
Right.
They're drilled at 45s, going both ways.
Huh.
All rotors in a normal rotor, all holes in a normal rotor just go straight through.
Correct.
These go 45s in both directions at different diameters all throughout the whole thing. They're ventilated. So when they're
Right.
spinning, the 45-degree holes actually letting air go in
Yeah.
rather than just be straight through. Really
Okay.
cool stuff. 5.75 thickness. These are actually good for most super stock classes as they're
Yeah.
not oversized. They're
Right.
just thicker. So these rotors will work for production and I believe in super stock and Moto America. But they're top notch. Kyle Wyman's on them. Jack Roach is on them. Kyle Wyman's swearing by them. Probably got
Yeah.
another couple teams looking at them, eyeing them out. But they're MotoGP stuff bringing over to the United States by HHR. These go
Okay.
for about $1,000 a set
Yep.
retail. Um, there's a lot of Ninja 400 guys that are liking them because these little 400 guys, they're pushing the envelope and they're really warping these rotors.
Yeah.
Not just OEM rotors, but they're warping aftermarket rotors that I've seen here in the US. And we've actually fixed that problem, sent a couple teams our rotors, and they don't warp them anymore. And these are Moto America 400 teams. And so it's been good. They're proven really good stuff. I got a bunch of other stuff. I got a bunch of space blankets in here from Technofibra, which is really good for heat shields on the body work and everywhere else. And so, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That is nuts. Now, are the 400 bikes for the general public people are they a big thing nowadays? I'll be
Um,
honest, I haven't been keeping up with motorcycling technology probably about 10 years. So
the
you know
I would
400 is
say,
the new six, right?
yeah, I would say the 400s are. I mean, to me, they're not really the bike to be on right now. I mean, I don't like being on the 400s because they feel like they're not race bikes. I don't feel like the transmissions feel clunky on them. Everything about them feels second rate. It's just a 400 bike. They feel like a turd. I rode an R3, feels like a turd. I'm not into the small bikes. They're great for the kids. I think
Yeah.
they're a stepping stone, but they're not for me.
Mm,
I can't handle. I can't stand them. I feel like they're second rate bikes
yeah.
for some reason. Maybe that's discrimination, but
Well, I mean, if when you've been racing and you've been racing the big bikes and the super sport bikes, obviously,
well, you
a
can see
giant.
in the construction methods, all the from the frame to the chassis to the way the transmission feel. Obviously, it's a super bike for a reason, right? They call it super, like it's the pinnacle of what Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, whatever else. And the R3 is the entry level, right? So it's gonna entry level transmission, right? Entry level chassis, entry level suspension, and so it's just like it's just not enough there for me. But I think it's a really cool class, and I think it's formidable class. I think it's
Yeah,
crazy to watch it change every year. That's
yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
So
yeah,
literally every year it's been changing the past 3 years. So
yeah. Well, I mean, they're obviously built to a price. I mean, You know,
Yeah.
they're made so that you can buy them. One of
Yes.
the trends in
True.
Toronto, especially where I'm from, is we do have a giant influx of the 400s, right? And
Yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with insurance. We pay an insane amount of insurance in Canada, especially in Ontario.
Hmm.
Um, I still have my 929 CBR 929, and you know I pay something like $1,700 a year,
Oh wow.
and there's no
And you
suspension
pay-
in the winter,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh
I,
wow.
yeah, I used to be able to do it. They used to allow you to put it on suspension in the winter because everybody knows you're not riding in the snow.
Yeah.
So then they'd be like, okay, it's like $6 a month, and then you just pay a little bit more in the summer. You're still saving a ton of money, but now they don't let that happen. I think maybe not 17. I think it's like 14, 15, but it's high. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
talk to all
Yeah.
my American friends and they're like, holy smoke, that's
I
like a grand US.
yeah. I think it's I don't know. I think the 400 class is just, I don't do a lot of street riding. I wish I did,
Yeah.
but I feel like I would be, I feel like the enduro scene is probably like what attracts my eye right now. But as far as scenes growing and all that, I would say like that middle scrambler enduro scene is the more popular scene in the US. I think the 400's doing, I don't know about like doing great on the street, but it's doing great on the racetrack.
Right.
I mean, and I'm guessing it's doing great on the street, but I'm just never in that
Yeah.
realm too much. So
Yeah, sad to say I haven't ridden my bike once this year. Now, I've been on motorspikes, just not
yeah,
mine.
no, just not yours, right?
Yeah, my brother-in-law his mom has a farm, and he bought an electric dirt bike, and I've never been on an electric dirt bike before, and
How's that?
man, I'm loving them.
Was it cool or what?
It's
Was
cool
it one of
because
those light ones? Was it like a light mountain bikey kind of one?
no. It's the I think it was Sun Ra. It's a
Okay.
brand that I think it's called Sun Ra, something like that. Anyways, they look like a proper dirt
Dirt,
bike,
dirt bike
but
set.
they're
Yeah.
electric, and it's good because you can go through like there's no noise. So you actually enjoy the ride more than just the brr, brr, brr. It's
Yeah, yeah.
fun. Like I
Well,
enjoy nature. I was like, oh
right?
wow, nice tree.
Well, you can kind of like, yeah, that's kind of a trip, huh, to think about it.
Yeah.
Well, I'd probably rent one if I could. That might
Yeah.
be a good business, renting out electronic e-bikes,
Yeah.
converting all the fucking gas guys over.
No, when you think about it, if you had access to a plot of land, you could totally do adventure biking for the day. You know, I know companies aren't really a thing right now, but I mean, imagine like next year when everything's back to normal, you can have company outings where you can get like a group of 30 guys coming out. You provide the lunch, the barbecue, blah blah blah, and you an hour of biking, and it's silent. And you really like, as corny as it sounds, that you really do enjoy the nature being out
Yeah,
there
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
the same land. I mean,
No,
you
I
know,
know where you're coming from. I actually, honestly do know where you're coming from as far as like, being in the environment rather than rocking your way through the environment. Wah, 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 you know what I mean? And that's actually a really interesting perspective. I definitely want to go take one out and ride one
yeah,
now. So,
yeah,
I mean, I live 2 miles from my house, and so I'm all bikes are open game for me. I'm like, because sometimes people are like, well, what do I need a Grom for? I'd never be able to use it because I live out in the boonies or
right,
whatever. Or maybe what do I need this for? And I'm in Idaho, so
yeah.
like you need at least 4 bikes in my spot. So and I tell my wife this all the time. So I'm up to two.
Right.
The next, it's like gauging your ears, going
Yeah.
up to three next. So.
Wait, how is it that you need 4 bikes? Break it down.
Oh, okay. Um, that
Sure.
obviously, right? So you need your race
Done.
bike,
Got it.
and then you got your mini, right? And then you got your enduro, right?
Yeah.
Right. Minis for in town, just to get you around. I got a KLX
Right.
140 coming. That was a man in the box
Oh wow.
build in Cycle World magazine. Anyway, dream bike. And then so you have to have your race bike, you have to have your mini bike, you have to have your enduro, and then you have to have your bar hopper. And then you gotta have, and if you really want, then you gotta have your dirt bike at the very
Right.
end. But your enduro can kind of cross over,
Yeah.
where you can get your fix.
I'll get the
But
job done.
yeah, yeah. So 4 bikes right there. Bar hopper being, date night, kind of thing like
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, like just even like an older CBR
I
600.
Yeah, an older like rat rod, anything without soft tail suspend, hardtail.
Yeah.
No
Something where you can put the girl on the back and she's not going to be complaining that I'm getting bucked off every time you freaking go over a speed bump, right?
No, because she's gonna be riding facing this way.
Nice, man. Yeah, so you're not doing a lot of, why are you not racing? Is this because the business,
The
other than the leg,
business.
obviously, it's the business. Too damn busy.
Keyboard warrior. That's all I do. The business consumes everything. I consider it a vacation when I get to actually go out to AFM and do trackside vending. That's kind of like what we do on the during the season is we go down and do trackside vending at AFM, which is the oldest and most prestigious motorcycle road racing club for amateurs and pros alike in the U.S. So
Right.
they're based in California, and that's what we go do. And um, that gets my fix in, but it's been 5 years, 6 years since I've been on the track.
Yeah.
And so I've been focusing on the business since then. Some life trials too, but we get over those and we keep moving forward. You know, if life gives you lemons, you punch life back in the fucking face.
Screw the lemonade.
So that, yeah, that's my motto, and so that's what I done. And HHR is moving forward strong, and I know I'll be able to ride soon enough. But it's like a wine. When I
Yeah.
know I'm going to be able to go ride, it's going to be very aged and very good, and I'm going to have a lot of really good friends around me. I'm going to have a really cool bike underneath me. I'm going to have a lot of badass parts on that bike, and it'll be fun. It'll be really, really. I'm savoring it. It's marinating.
Yeah.
Right?
You said in the very beginning, you kind of just quickly mentioned that you used to be a skater. How did you transition over in the bikes? Is it because everybody rides a dirt bike back home?
I transitioned into bikes. Well, I grew up in Boise, right? Boise,
Yep.
Idaho. And I
Yep.
moved up to Sandpoint, followed the girl up there. But I transitioned into bikes at a late age. I was 26 when I got my first Honda CBR 600RR. It was a 2004, and I was 26.
Mm.
I did my first track day at like 28 because it took about 2 years to lose my license. And and then I did the first track day in Utah at Miller Motorsports Park, aka, I mean, Utah Motorsports Campus, aka Miller Motorsports Park. And
Wow.
that was my home track, and that's where I met Mark, my partner, and we started off as Hustle Hard Racing. And so, yeah, I forget what the question was, but
How'd you get into riding and racing,
well,
or just
that's
riding in
yeah,
general?
yeah.
Yeah.
I got into riding just because I was 26. My dad told me I couldn't ride any of his bikes, and I was like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna get a bike." And so then I finally got a bike. He had like 3 Harleys when I was growing up.
Wow.
3 Harleys, like all everything, and I was like, he didn't let me touch any of his cars, so I had to steal everything I wanted to ride. So when I turned actually, and he always told me it's a luxury. When you can afford it, it's a luxury. And so I actually was able to afford it at age 26. I got myself a 600. Cool. I didn't know what I was doing. Next thing you know, I lost my license, started going to the racetrack, met Mark, and then I started getting sponsorships. Like, can I get helmets? Can I get gloves? Can I get this?
Right,
That whole
right.
thing. And like, I got tired of groveling and doing
Mm.
that shit. And so I was like, you know what? Let's make money together. Let's turn this around. Let me become a dealer for you and sell your parts for you. And so we both make money. Instead of me taking money from you,
Yeah.
let's both make money.
Yeah.
And so I
That's
started
smart.
flipping my accounts into dealer accounts and my sponsorships into dealer accounts.
Smart.
And
Yeah.
next thing you know, we're like, we got to get a website, because you only can. We got to be open 24/7 in every single street block. So
Yeah.
cool, website. So we opened a website, start doing that, and just kind of took off from there. But yeah, it's what got me into racing is just after that first track day, I pulled into that first session or whatever it was, maybe after lunch, I don't know, but I cried and I was like, holy shit, I
Yeah.
found I found my carrot. And it took a
Wow.
long time. I was 28 years old. It took a long
Yeah.
time, but I was
Yeah.
like, this is my carrot. This is what I needed to keep me not that I needed any, not that I think I needed anything to keep me straight, but I was like, this is an awesome, it's just an endless fight. The building your racecraft,
Yeah,
building your motorcycle craft, or whatever you riding, whatever you want to call it,
sure.
is is a lifelong awesome battle. And it's
Yeah.
fun because you can feel yourself getting better and better and better. And I
Mm.
love that. And that's why I got into it, because I didn't have it as a kid, because I was never into sports. I was
Mm.
into skateboarding, and it was on your own sport. And so when you get into racing, you're on your own.
Yeah.
There's nobody to be like, hey, I'm going to do this play, or hey, I'm going to go this way. Every single decision made on the racetrack in that moment in time, that second,
Yeah.
you no hesitation, because if you hesitate, you're screwed. You're off the
Yeah.
track at 120 miles an hour. We all been there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm just gonna chase that guy into this corner. I'm gonna chase and I'm hesitate. And then all of a sudden you're off the track and he's turning. You know what I mean? And so, like, I just feel like it was I never competed in high school, and then I stumbled into racing, and I was like, this is a really cool way to not just compete against others, but against myself.
Yeah.
And then I just took it to heart, and then everything I do on and off the track applies toward it, and I loved it. And I was lucky enough to have a little bit extra funds to be able to do it, and
Mm.
a little extra time, and so and I went with it and rocked it. And I don't think this can happen to everybody. I think there's a special few that actually be able to get to go ride at the track, and there's even a smaller special few that be able to go race.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I was one of those special few. I think that all of us that are able to do that are lucky,
Yeah.
and we need to like roll, like we need to kind of step back and realize how lucky we are. You know,
Mm.
anybody at the track. There's nobody that there's what's the percentage of people in the world that are able to ride a motorcycle on the track? It doesn't matter what the
Yeah.
fuck the motorcycle is. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
what parts are on it.
I hear
And
you.
like that's the coolest thing in the world. And we were
Yeah.
so lucky to be able to do the sport we love to do, whether it be on the road, track, or whatever. But anything on two wheels is amazing. And I just kept going to the deeper layers of the two-wheel onion. And I was
Yeah.
like, I want a motorcycle, 26, really late bloomer.
Yep.
Then I was like, I lost my license. I want to go to the track. I still want to ride. I still want
Yeah.
to go faster than the speed limit. And then you're like, I want to go racing. Like, go racing after track
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And then what do you do after racing? You know, I just kept going with it. You know, I
Yeah.
kept finding the other side of the ball. And I
Wow.
went from, you know, team to the, you know, now I have a business and we're doing well. And yeah,
Yeah, well,
hustle hard, dude. You
and
gotta,
and you know what? Like, by no means I am one of the slow scouts on track. I have no problem admitting that. But
yeah,
what?
me too. Yeah.
But what I do, what I at the end of the day, what I do love is the fact that there's no one else to blame, and I like that. The problem with most team sports for me personally is I always have he didn't pass me the ball. That was a bad pass. It was, why didn't you score when you had a chance? Why didn't you put it through the net? There's always that element of wasn't me.
Yeah,
When you're on that bike,
it's all
you can
you.
blame the bike. Sure, you can blame whatever, but I guarantee you can blame the bike all you want. There's a guy behind you that can take your bike and go, a tenth
Yep.
faster
Yep.
at
Yep.
the drop of a hat,
It's
right?
it's all on you, and that's what I love. It's kind of like it reminds me of golf. I grew up golfing when I was a kid, and I was in a golf program, junior program, and then I did a lot of golf with my dad and my brother. And every hole, no matter what happened, the previous hole, you had to reset.
Mm,
You had to take that out of your mind. That three over par or whatever it was, that shitty hole,
yeah,
bogey, whatever they call it. Like it's been a while, but and you had to reapply yourself for the next hole, and you had to get a good drive,
yeah.
right? You can't be sitting. That's what racing is, a little faster, but every turn, every corner is a new hole. And after
Mm,
you hit that hole and you get it in, you get through that apex, you have to be looking at the next one. You have to reset, reapply yourself, and get ready to hit that next apex for that next report card, right? Like Ken Hill
yep,
says.
yeah,
And so and that's I loved that. I loved it. I loved it. I loved
yeah,
it. And that's what it kind of reminded me of golf. And that's something to remind everybody else as it is. It's like, well, it's a sport to where you can test yourself, but every corner is like a new hole
yeah,
at golf where you can't get stuck in the how you ganked it to the left or the right. You know what I mean? You have to like reassert yourself and get
yeah.
on with it. And I love that. Eyes forward, eyes forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter what happens. Forward,
Yeah.
forward, forward. Always moving
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
And that's how I treat business. That's how I treat everything. And it's just like when shit happens, all right, shit happened. Shit's back here. We're moving forward. Doesn't matter what the fuck you say. We're moving. We can acknowledge the shit. We can make this shit better, but we're moving forward. We're
Yeah.
not gonna sit here and dwell on it. And so I think of life like that, and I think racing is just a higher paced version of that, to where it's like you got to move forward, bro. Who gives a shit about that last one? Like,
Yeah.
and the better you can do that, the better off it is, because nobody's having perfect laps out there.
Right.
There's a corner where you're like, oh my god, no, I got that one a little off, or there's a corner you're like, I fucking ripped it, and
Yeah.
then yeah, so it's cool. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. I hope to be doing it until I'm 70 something. I know I
Yeah.
will be.
Yeah.
And I envy all those guys that pull up instead of going. They pull up with the setup, and then they got two bikes, and then they got like this and this, and I'm like, and then they're a grandpa, and you're like, dude, I want to be a grandpa traveling tracks, just doing
That-
track days all over instead of like traveling golf courses. I want to be traveling tracks.
Yeah,
And
man. I'm just gonna buy an RV with the pull out, like a little, like a drawer underneath the
yeah,
RV that pulls out, and it's just a bike.
yeah, bike, glove,
That's the
like
dream.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Bike comes out, and then like your suit comes up, and then your helmet comes up. Everything, just push button.
Yeah. That's
So
that's
yeah, I
that's
know. I took this bodywork off this bike today. It's my first, because it's been, this is probably going on 12 weeks I've had this, and I just finally took off the bodywork.
yeah.
Um, I didn't know Velcro was a thing in bodywork until this bike. So but apparently
So,
it is. So
oh yeah.
yeah, a
I
little
didn't
bit.
know. Is that a real thing, or is it just somebody decided not to put on the bodywork properly
No,
and
I think it's called used race
okay.
bike.
Huh?
It's a used race bike. That's what it is. You're gonna open it up, you don't know what the fuck you're gonna find. You're like, what is this? Like, my first race bike I opened up and I took off, it was a Honda, right? I told you I
Yeah.
had a Honda '07. That was my first track bike, right?
Okay.
And so you get your first track dedicated bike and you open it up and you're like, take off the fairings. You're like, yeah, I'm getting into here. But the bike's been through the ringer, right?
Right.
I opened up my first track day bike. It was an '07 Honda 600R. And I take off the tank cover, dents and everything on the tank, right? Okay, cool. They just put on new tank. Well, not just dents, but goddamn blood, like all over the tank. Like somebody's blood was still over the tank. And I was like, what am I getting into? Do I want to
That's
do
crazy.
this still? There's blood all over this. It's my
Yeah.
first track bike. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, am I getting,
Oh
what is
man.
this for? But, we're all a little squishy, so.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Now, do you love wrenching? I personally, as I get older, I I'm finding less motivated to work on the bike. Whereas I'm getting to the point where I'm like, next year maybe I'll just bring it to some guy to do an oil change. How much is an oil change on a bike? It's like, 60, $70.
Yeah, that's true. I think it just goes with age, dude. Like the more of us who are getting old, and that kind of tags into my demographic. They're like, I don't got time to do that shit. I
Yeah.
know what I want,
Yeah, exactly.
but I don't have time to do it. And so like this right here is the same thing. My Grom, for example, I collected probably like $2,000, $3,000 worth of parts. I still have the Owens just sitting back. I sold the Grom, didn't even put the parts on.
Yeah.
How many times do you do that where you buy a bike and you start collecting parts for it, and then
Yeah.
you sell the bike before you even had a chance to put the parts on?
Yeah.
And I'm like one of those guys who just starts collecting shit because I want it's gonna be opted, but I don't even put the shit on. It's kind of like an anxiety. And then with the bike, it's the same thing. It's like I'm like looking at it and I'm like, I'm just gonna send it to Barry at KFG or drop it off at Attack Performance at Yosef and just call it good, like just give him the box of new parts and be like, I've been staring at this for 4 months. Can you please put it on for me? Like, and that's the thing. You get like it's meditation, right?
Yeah.
But then when you're hustling all the time and you don't even have time for meditation, like say your prayers or anything, then you don't have like, yeah, just pay somebody to do it. And that's meditation. That's like peace of mind for me. I'll just pay you to do it. Peace.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Although I think I've got you beat in that sense. I think I bought a lap timer and it took me like 3 years to put it on. I'll be like, I'll put it on for next
Oh,
track day. I'll
that's
put it on
even
for next
worse
track day. You know
because
what? Don't
it's
worry about
just
it. I'll hook it up for
Velcro.
next. Huh?
It's just Velcro. That's all. You just have
I
to put
am
it on.
literally that lazy. I was literally that lazy. I was
I'll get
so unmotivated.
I'll get you a mountain kit. I got you. I got
It's all right. I haven't done a track day in about 5 years, so I think my track days
you.
might be done.
Same. Me too. I haven't. No,
Yeah.
the last track day I did was an R3. Hence my whole R3 is a piece of shit
Right.
speech because I did an R3 track day at the Ridge, and I went to a 600, and then I didn't ride for like 4 years, and then I did a track day on an R3, and I was trying to like, I thought I was gonna make the bike like puke its guts out because I was like downshifting into corner one, and it's like no, no, and like I was parking literally into corner one because I was expecting to like 600 it after a straight, no, 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 and then all of a sudden it's just like not going. And then I
Right.
was like, oh, you're not supposed to downshift on this thing at all. And
Yeah.
so it was just an interesting lesson. And but anyway, I'm excited to get back on a 600. I really feel like I'd be good on 1,000 though because it's a different dance.
Mm.
And the only 1,000 race I've ever been in, I actually won, and I
Huh.
think I got along with the beast.
Yeah.
The 2012 R1, but yeah, thousands and 600s, totally different dances,
Yeah.
totally different steps, like 600s are more of the cha-cha-cha, and, the thousands are more of the waltz,
Yeah.
long thought out steps. And,
Hmm. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck for 400s, but anyways.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah, for sure,
Um,
for sure. So where's Toronto? You keep saying you're in Toronto. Where's Toronto at? East Coast,
yeah,
or?
Toronto's in East Coast. It's about 2.5 hours away from Buffalo, New York.
Oh yeah, so you're not close to Sandpoint, Idaho.
Not even remotely. Now I've heard of I've heard of Boise, Idaho, and I hear it's like
Yeah,
super beautiful, like one of the best kept secrets
it's
in
a
the
cool
whole wide
place.
world.
It's a cool place. They got a really cool river going through the town. It's big enough to keep you fun, and yeah, it's a cool place. It's a really rad place. I really like where I'm at right now, Sandpoint, Idaho. It's got like 12,000 people, more of a small town feel, but you know it's on a lake and it's got a ski mountain 10 miles away, and it's got trails beyond anything. So I'm in a good little hideaway spot when I do
Yeah.
travel to go to the races or anything. It's I really enjoy it. Like I was saying earlier, like I really do enjoy getting out and going and doing trackside vending. I really do going out to Moto America and facilitating with my racers or just doing a pop-up tent. But because it's a good change of scenery.
Yep.
I'm not in the city. I'm not in all that. There's not one fucking sport bike in here. All Sandpoint. So like, it's a good. Yeah, it's good. It's fun. I really like it a lot. So, um, going to AFM's been fun. I'll probably be going to Utah SBA next year. Probably WIMRA, OMRA. I'd like to get, like I said, I want to get into the supermoto scene, the mini moto scene. I
Yeah.
want to get involved with that and get involved with the players in that to be able to know what I'm doing with my own little mini moto track. But yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
cool.
What is the dream though for the business in 2021? I mean, 2020 in a lot of ways, I know you made a lot like good money, but it's kind of a write-off in the sense that it's an anomaly, right?
Yeah,
So where do you want to take that business in next year and beyond?
2020 was a year for, really um, building its tools and learning how to use them for HHR. It couldn't have come, the whole COVID couldn't have come at a better time for HHR.
Okay.
Because when you're learning how to use a new system, you're not as quick and versatile.
Sure.
And and when it happened honestly at the perfect time. So I feel like in 2021 we're going to be really charging forward pretty strongly. I think you're going to be seeing a lot of more strong marketing from HHR. I think the sponsorships are going to stay the same, if not less. Our idea is to bring in less higher quality sponsored
Sure.
riders, less quantity, you know. And but I always believe in when if I meet a racer and I believe in him, it's crazy how much you can push them toward their potential by just sprinkling a little bit of sponsorship on them. And
Right.
so I always like retaining a little bit in the budget for that, for helping the special cases, right? I always do that. I really do think that goes a long ways because it's really cool when you're like, wow, somebody fucking cares about my program and I'm an
Yeah.
amateur and they're
Yeah.
fucking helping me out. And so I
Yeah.
think that's cool because I've been there myself. So I keep that in some of the reserves. But I think in 2021, it's definitely going to be, you know, there's going to be a nationwide presence, not just on the West Coast, but the East Coast, and and you know, we're really going to lock down. We're really going to lock down on our marketing. You're going to be seeing a lot of the same sponsored riders, but you're going to be seeing a lot more cool content from us,
Awesome.
from our Instagram page,
Yeah.
Hustlehardracing, and from our Instagram page at Carbon in USA, and from the Facebook pages as well. But we're really trying to show to the demographic that we're boots on the ground and we're right there with you. You know, we're not just you know, a mall per se or
Mm,
anything like that.
right.
So you know, I you know, 2021 as far as sales, I know where we're going to be at, you know, and everything like that. You know, where I want to think we're going to be at. So, but I really do feel like you know, it's going to be one of those years where it's just like, hold on, you
Yeah.
know. As far as racing though, I want to get a fucking bike and I want to get Andrew Lee on it. You know, I'm tired of having him ride everybody else's bike but mine. He's working for me. He should be riding my bike.
Yep.
Period.
I hear you.
Mark, where's my bike?
Mark, you heard it here. You know, and I think yeah, that's amazing. And I what I do appreciate is the fact that you genuinely have uh uh, uh you had the spark to want to see people do better and want to help,
I
you know,
love
people achieve their goals. I think that's amazing. And yeah, you know what? I think Andrew Lee is one of the most, I don't know, if not the most overlooked, you know, professional motorcycle racer today in the US, if not, you
the
know,
world.
in
Uh,
the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
To say
So,
the least. I mean, there's been some other opportunities I'm trying to work out for him, but he is definitely world class caliber.
yeah.
And as far as the trajectory he was on, world
Yeah.
class.
Yeah.
Just like Gerloff, the trajectory Garrett Gerloff was on.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
we all knew he got lit and he couldn't be put down. As soon as he won those, like he was like on fire. And this weekend, he goes and takes the first podium since 2016. You know what I mean? Third place. You know, and the last person to do that in World Superbike was Nikki Hayden. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, you know, Garrett Gerloff in World Superbike, taking it with the Yamaha Pata. And so it's just really um, cool to be able, and I told Andrew this when he started working with us. I was like, listen, bro, you're just keeping your coal in the fire. Is you're keeping it hot. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even
Yeah.
though if you don't have a ride right now,
Yeah.
your presence, not just on the track, but off the track. And he's a businessman, and that's what I like about him. He's
Yeah.
really sharp. Um, I'm only going to surround myself with people who are bigger than me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
going to only surround myself with an army of individuals who can like protect, like, you know, fight for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I don't want pussies.
Right. Gotcha.
I want Andrew Lee's.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why I have Andrew Lee's. And so I feel like, yeah, we're in a really good position. I want Andrew riding for me, whether it be on a Honda, BMW, or a fucking Kawasaki. I don't give a shit. A legal
Yeah.
Kawasaki, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I really, I think 2021 is going to be really good. I think the biggest, I think fuck business. I want a race bike. Let's go racing. You know, like
Yeah.
thinking of it now, like I think it'd be really cool to have a really good bike in the stable and actually be pursuing a Moto America championship, right? I
Yeah.
think that'd be cool for HHR. Is it a lot to swallow? Yeah. But are we doing good enough to be able to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I think
so.
so.
I think
Yeah.
we just got to bite it and fucking start chewing and get on with it. So,
Okay, the perfect ending. And with that, I wish you well. Let's keep in
cheers.
touch, and we'll talk soon.
All right, sounds good, Eric. Take care, buddy.
Okay, later, Brandon.
Later, buddy. Take care.